Let's say you wake up and check your phone to see that Bitcoin is worth more than $117,000. Ethereum costs more than $4,600. At $38, XRP is still holding strong, and markets are full to the brim with billions of dollars in moving funds. Imagine that this isn't just a jump for no reason. Imagine that this is the moment when institutions, state funds, and even whole countries switch to cryptocurrencies in a way that has never been seen before. You not only see this from the side, but you can also swim with it. This is the state of things right now. This is not advice about money. Heads are going up faster than anyone can keep up with them. In the US, Ripple wants to get a full banking license, which would include a license for C and Holy Grail, which is the main account in Fed. It was made clear by Brad Garlinghouse that Ripple is not trying to get around rules. They don't think twice about taking them, which helps connect standard finance with decentralized finance. This means that XRP will be able to handle deals that are faster, cheaper, and safer for banks, businesses, and even governments. Some projects are still in a fight with officials, but Ripple is already in touch with Washington. The rules of the game have changed. That's the point. With the right tools, you can be one of the first 1% of people who not only know about these changes, but also know how to get ready for the capital wave. So, the XRP Millionaire Blueprint plan can be found in the comment that has been saved below this video. Inside, you'll find a full set of papers, infographics, movies, and other things. As you can see, this is all done to show you step by step how to use Boom on XRP. There's no need to guess. It's about having a plan and some tips to make something real and long-lasting during this rush. To get it right now, look at the message that has been pinned below this video. The market is already moving, so let's pay attention to what's happening. Ripple doesn't just deal with rights for fun. They would be on the same market as regular American banks if they got a C+ license, which is the main account in the Fed. This would allow them to make goods, control the flow of money, and do math directly with the Federal Reserve. Let's add a relationship with a big company like BNY Mellon and the new partnerships with Franklin Templeton and DBS. So a whole new system is being built right in front of our eyes. Cryptocurrencies aren't the only ones trying to become money. These funds turn into coins. Let's look at this in light of the launch of AXRP, the first American ETF on the spot market. The REX shares Osprey product is now on the market, and people were quick to reply. There was 24 million in sales in the first 90 minutes. By the end of the first day, more than $37 million had been traded, which broke records and was more than all the other ETFs that were launched this year put together. Even ETF experts from Bloomberg agreed with this. All of the new ETFs that came out in 2025 did better at their start. For real, XRP has become the focus of the attention of organizations. We've been waiting for this. Legality, ease of use, and wide availability. We won't stop there, though. This is the second bomb that Coinbase has dropped. The straight connection between DeFi loans and its application. Nobody else can get in the way anymore. No more wallets that trick you. All you have to do is open Coinbase and hold on to your USDC. Suddenly you can make up to 10.8%. Take some time to think about it. Some banks will give you 0.5% to 1% on your savings account and 4% to 5% on your money market account. But Coinbase makes it easy to make two-digit profits with just one click. If you are a saver investor or even someone who invests $10,000 in stablecoins, you will make over $1,000 a year right away without changing your variable assets. That's why banks are being so scared. The Institute of Banking Policy has already said that using stablecoins to pay dividends hurts regular banks. In English, they sound scared, because why would anyone be happy with pennies in a bank account when they can store their dollars in USDC and earn 10% while still using a debit card to pay for things? That's why we see changes in structure. No longer are cryptocurrencies just a guess. They are more than the $187 billion a year that the bank gets from moving payments. Let's take a break for a moment. Ripple is set up as a registered bank that can talk to the Fed directly. As the first American spot ETF, XRP, it was started with a huge amount of money. We have Coinbase, which gives regular users rewards. Next is Larry Fink from BlackRock. This is the same person who bought cryptocurrencies and now openly says that Bitcoin can reach a value of $500,000 to $700,000 if only 25% of state funds are set aside for this reason. He told them that he was already talking to a state asset fund about it already. Add to this a new bill in Michigan that says the state must give 10% of its money to Bitcoin, and it seems like everything is set. There won't be any institutions or states here. They are, but things are getting worse here. More and more money is flowing into ETFs. Coin-based ETF-Y made $543 million in 1 week. Another $326 million was added by ETF-Y, which is based on Ethereum. And now XRP is at the top of the list. Tens of millions of dollars have been coming in since the first day. This is just the start. Keep in mind that banks are careful at first, but once the doors are open and there is enough cash, the locks can be widely opened. This is how markets worth a lot of money move, slowly at first, then quickly. You can cover expert data with basic data. Long, medium, and short-term XRP momentum waves are all fully positive along the whole line. The graphs show that there is support near 3 of 15, then 3 of 30, and a stronger breakout zone at 355. Short term, there may need to be a restart, but in the past, each consolidation at these levels set the stage for higher highs. If the current trend continues, XRP could go to new heights with one more step up. The high demand for ETFY will make it even more important to buy to compare. It's getting interesting now. Traders pay close attention to the moon's phases. Yes, the moon cycles are a unique but amazingly reliable sign for XRP prices. Price raises have happened during the full moon in the past, while price consolidations or drops have happened during the NOOF. We are in the full moon phase right now, and prices are going up. However, the NOOF is coming up in a few days. If there is a consolidation before the next phase, or if this cycle breaks with custom and grows anyway, that is the real question. In any case, experienced investors are paying close attention because these trends, along with the flow of money into ETFs, can quickly change the way things look. All of this is going on while XRP agreements don't bother the banks. As you read this, new stablecoin infrastructure, cross-bearings, and tokenized funds of the financial market are being made. This is not a unique cause. There is a group of things that are pushing XRP deeper into the main part of the banking system. At the moment, it is seen as an asset that links everything from Wall Street to Washington to DeFi apps on XRP phones. When we look at the economy as a whole, we can see how capital flowing into ETFs, new rules, and market cycles are setting the stage for the next phase of fast growth. Patterns are not happening by accident right now. They are being watched. To get your money, they work together and plan to steal it. There is a difference between the XRP chart and other charts in this space that have been around for more than 5 minutes. It doesn't move with the normal speed and doesn't trade on solid grounds. Instead, it relies on waves of trickery that get easier to spot over time. This is the truth. For every big rise in XRP, there was a planned drop that went along with it. It's not just a change in the market. The change makes sense. On the XRP front, what we see is more like a well-thought-out action plan. It becomes more clear as you look at it longer. Just think about the last big March. Everyone was feeling great. The time axis was full of XRP up to 10 posts, and buyers jumped at it with every free dollar they could get. What then took place? The price dropped all of a sudden when a perfect chain of sales orders came in. Not just a fix, but a sudden turnaround. It wasn't just a lot of fish that made money. It was a trick for their minds, because you can't decide what to do when they push you into happiness and then hurt you right away from it. You begin to doubt yourself. You give up a lot of power. It's a loop. Fear of throwing and pushing. Giving up on pumping and throwing in a circle. Let's talk about the first factors and how they work in real life. Liquidity pools are the first thing you need to know. Most fish don't just buy XRP for no reason. They set up traps. In clear areas, they let large groups of people place orders to buy. This goes above the psychological resistance in numbers like 1 and 0/100ths, 150, or 2 and 0/10ths, and even meme-driven rallies where everyone is sure the moon has finally come. At these times, large groups of people are meeting. Then many fish do the exact opposite of what everyone thinks they will do. This is cash that they sell. They sell their bags, which leads to more sales, and then buy them back later for less money when only weak cards will be left. The plan is always the same, but here's the shocking part. It's not just about making money. It has to do with power. You won't keep it if they help you believe that the price of XRP is useless. And if you don't keep it, you won't be able to use the price increase to its full potential when banks and other companies start integrating XRP into their systems. Now let's talk about time. Have you noticed that the price of XRP usually goes up right before or right after big news, posts and rumors about ETFs and ETH, as well as rumors that central banks might take XRP? All of these titles make me feel something. A lot of fish know about it too. They let people know about the news ahead of time, raise the price to make the stories seem fair, and then lower it when the detailers start to chase. What a pure form of trickery that is. To make the detailers' behavior predictable, the information loop is armed. Take the case of POSEFSEC as an example. The price of XRP goes up quickly every time a small positive news story comes out, like Ripple won a case or a judge gave a good sentence. However, the price goes down again after a few days. Why? In order to get people to click on these headlines. These words are seen as a sign by investors to buy. On the other hand, people who are inside already know how limited this line is. The price drops after they spend money on a full FOMO. Let us look at this more closely. Why is XRP the only currency that can be manipulated in this way? Because it is one of the world's most important digital tools for business. Take a look at memcoin. In no way is this a tech show. And it's not just another thing that will hurt Ethereum. When XRP was made, it was meant to be useful for a lot of people. Cross-burner estimates, liquidity bridges, and real-world integration with banks are all things that are talked about. This tech could be dangerous to the current banking system if it does what it's supposed to do. Do you really believe that the people in charge of the system will do nothing while large investors get rich? Without a doubt not. What will then happen? They will be too much for you. They are going to throw you off. They will keep you in the center by changing things all the time, which means you will never really believe what they say. This way, most detailers won't even be able to keep up when there is a real action turnaround and the adoption curve speeds up. This brings me to the second level of influence, which is controlling the story. If you read the major financial news outlets, you'll notice that they almost never say good things about XRP. XRP is not as important as Bitcoin or Ethereum, but it is connected to them. It is generally bad when it is already connected. XRP is a valuable coin. XRP will fail in the end. It's over with this coin. Note what does happen, though. When the story gets too bad, the price changes all of a sudden. Why? They do this because bad feelings make it easy for many fish to buy. They hide behind FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, to build up when detailers get scared. This is an incredibly smart plan. Keep telling a bad story. Keep the chart disorganized and retail trade sloppy. This way, only those who are patient and clear will be able to gain when things go back to normal. Also, let's talk about the stock market. Have you ever seen how the value of XRP changes in different stocks? There will be rapid rises, falls, or random rises that don't match up with the market as a whole. There's no chance in this. The people who move the market do what they do best by changing prices when there isn't much movement. They put in place stop-loss orders, force liquidations, and take over the accounts of traders who are using leverage. Once again, retail traders are left with nothing. There is hope, though. People who are manipulated only do so when they are not aware of it. Once you understand this, you will no longer be a target. As soon as you realize that short-term changes in the XRP market rest less on fundamentals and more on how people feel, you will stop getting caught in traps. You are going to stop looking for green lights. If you sell red candles, people will stop being scared. After that, you start getting ready for a long-term game. Now let's talk about what all of this trickery has done in the end. The goal is not to keep XRP from moving forever. It's not possible. In the long run, usability always wins. It needs to be pushed down for long enough for the detailers to give up, because prices will be unlike anything we've ever seen before when the real wave of adoption starts, and central banks, payment service providers, and global companies really start to use XRP. At this point, trickery doesn't matter anymore. However, until then, trickery is the only way to go. Take a look at it this way. Each and every XRP token is very valuable if XRP is really the foundation of the future banking system. People who know this don't want you to keep these tokens. They need them. They will keep doing this until you give up or finally learn something. Also, if you think it's all a hoax, think about why the Commission of Valuables and the SEC usually identified XRP. Why not use Ethereum? Then why not Litecoin? Why not use Cardano? Why XRP? Because XRP is dangerous, and the claim wasn't just about rules. Through years of doubt, suppression, and manipulation, the retail trade was kept from focusing on what was really going on, while the real players set themselves up. Here's the truth that makes you feel bad. You will have to wait a very long time for XRP to start acting like a normal tool. But XRP doesn't trade like other coins because it's not like other coins. It is managed, it is aimed at you, and it is used against you right now. The game changes, though, when you see it. You need to stop being scared of losing. Don't let growth fool you anymore. You understand that chaos is a plan in and of itself. And the only way to win is to stop focusing on the short term and keep your eyes on the big picture. Because when the time comes, the very same groups that have been trying to stop people from buying XRP for years will be telling you to do so. The media that spread FUD will also put out nonsense. By then, most of the retail business will be in trouble. Most people think that manipulation is only about making money in the short run. So there are fish looking for shares, getting rid of owners by using financial leverage, and making money from liquidity to make money quickly. Yes, but that's only the beginning. The real truth is that manipulating XRP has always been about building up. The goal is to make sure that only a few people will control most of this wealth when everything calms down and new financial systems are put in place. And once you start to see the signs, the strange past of XRP prices will make sense. Let us go back in time. It didn't look like most coin projects, but XRP did. There was not a fair split. There was no taking out. It was set from the top to supply. Ripple had the most and started releasing coin in a planned way over time. Some people say it centralized XRP, but look further. It wasn't a mistake. It was in Ripple's mind. Putting off partnerships, deposits, and distribution to institutions was all done to build a network effect for public utility businesses, not to comfort XRP investors. Short-term price changes in XRP interested investors, but it was really about positioning for the long run. Who has been saving money all this time? Not people who buy XRP or regular buyers on Coinbase. Institutions, hedge funds, and strategic partners were the ones who quietly bought when the price was low. Look at how many returns there were in the worst days after WSEC. Investors who paid attention were leaving, but on-chain data showed something different. Players with a lot of money were buying. They didn't lose their balance. They were coming in. That's the reason I say trickery isn't just noise, that's a plan. XRP isn't just another coin. It's a valuable tool in the race to control the world market, in a race to take over the world market. In the race for power, XRP is more than just an attack on XRP. That's why the major news outlets almost never talk about Ripple's partnerships with banks in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. It's not about being honest. It has to do with power. Moving on, let us look at how control works. Limiting the flow of money is one of the most important tools they use. Stock markets can limit book orders to make thin book orders appear naturally. In other words, you don't need much to make a big difference in the price. It doesn't make sense that XRP goes up by 15% after small messages and then goes down quickly again. This is managed money flow. Market animators use thin book orders to make things more unpredictable, which makes buyers feel things. They know exactly where the stop losses are and where investors who use too much leverage are too vulnerable. They use these levels like buttons on a machine. When you press 1, the sale happens all at once, making the chart look like a mess. The cycle being in sync with Bitcoin is another tool. Have you ever noticed that XRP goes up a lot when Bitcoin goes down or stays the same? These fish do this because they want to be noticed. They know that everyone in the Bitcoin world is keeping a close eye on Bitcoin. People pump XRP to make noise when Bitcoin takes a breath. Then, XRP falls faster than the rest of the market once Bitcoin starts to move again, so the detailers leave saying that the old XRP is no longer useful. When the market is rushed, it doesn't work. This is a reason. Their goal is to make you think that XRP is a bad investment so that you will sell it. Don't do that. Don't look at the short swings, but at the long arcs. XRP goes through huge, quick price rises and then brutal drops. The best year to see this was 2017. It went from cents to over $3 in just a few months. After that, it fell apart again and stayed that way for years. But ask yourself, who was building up during those years? The detailers, not them. The detail was gone. Institutions took stands in a quiet way. Now for the hook. Each of these cycles gets us closer to the Haas's true driven utility. XRP is not only pumped for speculation, but it is also used by financial institutions on a big scale. This is the goal. Now, it doesn't matter how you manipulate people. Adoption breaks through any walls you put up. Let's make ourselves feel even worse. What if institutions and multi-fish aren't the only ones who are manipulated? What if the states work together to make it happen? Let us think about it. If XRP does really play a part in how banks figure out debt, then governments and central banks have every reason to keep prices low until they are ready. Why would they let the detailers get ahead of them? What made them think that the open, chaotic market would be able to decide how much assets worth that could be used to build up foreign finances? It was not okay with them. They would catch them, take them home, and only make them normal once they were in charge. Detailers need to make a choice here. The person will either be manipulated and held tight, or they will be thrown off balance and have to buy back many times when the story changes. The story will change since there is no need to cheat. Today, the media are critical of XRP, but tomorrow they will praise it. The same groups that called it a value paper will now call it a success. The very same groups that put the blame on the detail sector will now say that it is the future of banking. This trick has been around for a long time. Gather quietly, repress violently, and then promote openly once the positions are safe. This is how the game works. But let me be clear. This doesn't mean for sure that XRP will go into space tomorrow. Most people don't realize how long manipulation can last. More sales, delays, calls, and planned sadness are all things we can see. This is how much the game costs on a market that has been rigged. On the other hand, it means that people who can handle it and see past the short-term noise could gain a lot when the long-term benefits become clear. What does it mean? We are now faced with a tough truth. You need to pick a game. Are you a short-term dealer in a game where cheating will crush you and spit you out? Or maybe you're playing a long-term game of conviction where you're okay with chaos as long as you keep your eye on the bigger picture? Because the truth is that most people don't like change. They lose their balance. This is what people who try to trick you want. However, manipulation will no longer scare you if you know the plan and the endgame. You need to stop responding emotionally. Do not go after the pumps anymore. That's it. You stop being scared and stay quiet. You quietly build up. You wait for the crowd to break out and don't mess up or it will pop. The real adoption will happen anyway, no matter how much is done to stop it. Tech that fixes the world's real problems will not be stopped by a crowd, and XRP fixes one of the biggest issues in world money. Cross-bar payments have a crack. When enough people find this useful, the game will never be the same again. The manipulators know this. It's known by institutions. The government knows it. The only question is whether you will still hold on when they flip the switch on. I made something just for you if you want to move past the broken plans and really learn the strategy, pattern, and attitude you need to win in this market. The name of it is XRP Millionaire Blueprint, and the link to it is in the comment that was pinned.